Hey guys, I'm Jess and today I'm going to be making DIY wall art with only supplies I have on hand. Let's get started. So, I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this. I just graduated college and it's my first time really, truly living on my own. I mean, except for my husband and my cat. I live with them. But we lived in dorm rooms for 4 years. So I didn't have anything. Like we had a bowl and a spoon to our names and then we had to furnish our whole living situation. So now we're like, we're getting there in terms of the house. We have all the things that we need, but I'm looking around and our walls are so bare. Okay, except for the wall behind me. I did try to do that one up nice. But other than that, I'm surrounded by a lot of empty walls. It's starting to feel like I live in a museum or something. I guess museums actually have stuff on the walls too. So we're not even up to like museum status yet. We have nothing on the walls. So I was thinking, why don't I use up some of my extra craft supplies? I don't want to go out. I don't want to buy anything else. God knows I don't need to buy anything else. So my plan is to make DIY wall art with just the supplies I already have. So this is going to be the first of a 3-part series of different wall art ideas that you hopefully can also make at home with just items you have on hand. So I really like mid-century modern and boho aesthetic. So I typed something along the lines of that into Pinterest and all over I saw this one wall hanging and I was like, that's what I need to do. And that's because months ago when I was at Goodwill, I found this cool wooden plate here and it has nothing on the back. And honestly, it looks like someone probably DIY'd the paint on here and I thought it was cool. And I was planning on hanging it up as is and I never got around to it. But I was thinking this would be perfect to just flip over. And actually you can see the price tag here. This was only $3.99. Can't beat it. But I was thinking that this would be perfect to be the top half of that wall hanging that you see everywhere. So I was thinking I would cut this in half. I also have a bunch of leftover yarn here from making this macrame chandelier thing. I'll insert a picture here. I didn't make a video on it or anything. Honestly, it took forever to make, but if you guys are interested in it, I'd be happy to post something about it. Anyway, I have all this leftover yarn and I don't knit or anything, so I was like, how can I put this to good use? And I thought that this would be perfect. I also actually have some wood stain as well. So my little scheme is to combine these items and have a cool wall hanging out of it. So I'm gonna take you on this journey with me and let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut down the exact center of this piece of wood. So to start with, I'm going to mark where I'm going to be cutting. So I went ahead and I cut down the center of the piece of wood. So now we just have a half moon you see here. And I also sanded the edges to get some of that paint off. Now we're gonna go ahead and stain the wood with this. I bought this stain for a project a while back, so I'm gonna be reusing it. And now I'm gonna go ahead and stain this whole piece of wood. Okay, so I would definitely recommend using the rags over using this. I don't even know why I use this because I have stained things before. I don't know, I guess I got cocky. But definitely use the rag instead of the sponge because it will just make everything a lot less messy. But here it is, I'm gonna let it dry while I work on the actual fringe. Okay, I'm back. I let this dry for an hour and it's already perfectly dry. It turned out just how I wanted, so I'm happy with it. Now I'm gonna move on to making the actual fringe that's gonna hang down from this. For this, I'm going to be using this macrame board here. I just found this at Goodwill randomly and it was like $2, so I was like, oh, might as well get it. But really, you don't need anything like this. I've done fringe type things in the past and I've just used cardboard and cut it to the size I want, so you can definitely do that. I'm just gonna be be using this because I have it. So my plan is to wrap the string around the board. Probably gonna do it like 80 times or so just to be really sure. And then I'm going to just cut it once. So the length of the fringe is going to be twice this because it's going to wrap around the back. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on wrapping the fringe now. Now that I have it wrapped a bunch of times, I lost count halfway through. I think it's like 80 or so. I'm just going to cut them off on the top here, and then I'm gonna have about 80 long pieces of string. So I have this pretty little mane of yarn now, and the trick now is getting all the pieces of yarn to line up perfectly so that it hangs down in a uniform way from the piece of wood. So to do that, my plan is to tie all the pieces of yarn to one piece so that it kind of hangs down together. I'm not sure what knot I'm gonna use yet. I kind of have an idea, but I'll of course show you what works out best. So again, using my macrame board, or you can use cardboard once again, but I just tied a piece of the yarn around the board. And then on the front here, you can see that I already started tying the fringe to the board using a really easy knot. To do this, all I do is I take a piece of the yarn and I match up the ends. I take the ends and then I place them under the main piece of yarn. And then I take the folded end, which has now become a loop, and I stick the ends through the loop. And then I pull tight. And then I'll just straighten it, pull it tighter, and slide it down with the rest. It's that easy. So I'm just going to continue tying the yarn and making this strand of fringe. This can be time consuming, so just sit on your couch, pet the cat, do your thing, watch a show, whatever, and it'll be done before you know it. So as you can see, I finished up tying the knots for the fringe, and I ended up doing a smaller one too because I thought it would look cool layered on top of this. So I'm gonna flip this over now, and I'm going to attach the fringe using a staple gun, and you could also use glue or whatever you have on hand. I'm just gonna use this, and I'm going to attach the string on these raised parts on either side of the plate with the smaller fringe on top. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that now. Okay guys, that was it for the DIY wall hanging. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I actually think it looks a lot like the pictures, so I feel pretty good about it. The only other things I did off camera were add the string on top so that I could hang it on the wall and cut the fringe a little bit in an angle. I got pretty into it, but I didn't overcut, so that was good. But it was actually a really easy project overall, and you can make this as big as you want. You can also use a rectangular piece of wood, or you can cut the wood into whatever shape that you want, and you could totally recreate this at home. If you end up doing that, I would love to know. Please comment down below, and if you enjoyed this video, please like it. I have a couple more videos coming out for DIY wall art, so stay tuned, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell so that you get notified of those videos being posted. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!